This is the all-new Polestar 4, and it has one feature that I've never seen before. There is no rear window. That and much more we'll get into details on today's episode of Autogefuehl. Today with me, AJ. Let's discover the car together. And up here on the front, the first thing you'll notice is gone are those Thor hammer headlights. Now we have this double blade design, kind of separating the top and the bottom half with this body color. What do you think about it? I think it looks pretty good. In the middle, there's also the new Polestar logo, which is illuminated from the inside. Looks pretty cool at night. So while this is on when you get up to the car or approach the car, it turns off while you're driving. Aerodynamics are, of course, key when it comes to electric vehicles, and this has a coefficient of drag of 0.26. Now, that's not as good as the Tesla Model X, which is 0.24, but still better than the Polestar 3, which is about 0.29. The Polestar 4 is 4.84 meters long. It can be had with either 20 or 22-inch wheels. What you see here are the 22 inches. They look pretty good, fill up the wheel arches really well. Now, the battery pack is the same across the two different versions. They're both 100 kilowatt hour gross, which means it's about 94 kilowatt hours net. The two versions are either the dual motor or the single motor. The single motor means that it's only rear-wheel drive. The dual motor means that, of course, it's four-wheel drive. Now, in fact, the dual motor setup is the fastest accelerating Polestar car ever, and it goes 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 3.8 seconds. It's pretty rapid. Now, the dual motor version, when the front wheels don't need to be powered, it can disconnect the electric motors so that it's a little bit more efficient and give you more range. Also, the dual motor version is the one that gets the adaptive suspension. The standard version with the rear motor only doesn't. Now, this is built on the Geely SEA platform, and there's different versions of this. There's two main versions, and this is also used, for example, for Zeekr, for Volvo, and even the smart electric cars. Currently, it's manufactured in China and Korea. So charging with AC is 22 kilowatts. It's 200 kilowatts with DC charging. So from 10 to 80%, you can get that charged in about 30 minutes with fast charging. Heat pump is standard, and this is a lithium ion, but with the nickel manganese cobalt kind of chemistry. Now, the real world range we'll have to test, so make sure you're subscribed to our channel, but we estimate this to be around 500 kilometers or about 300 miles. At the back, well, I think the design is quite subdued. It's got nice three-dimensional elements. I like this LED strip in the middle. The contours here will also play nice with light and shadow, but nothing too much to write home about. But what is the most interesting aspect back here is, of course, the fact that there is no rear window. And the truth is, I was speaking with one of the engineers here. In a coupe SUV, you're always compromising, either having a good headline in the back seat for the rear passengers or trying to compromise the space to have a bigger rear window. And it's never good for either of them. You don't have great visibility, nor do you have great headroom. So pick one. And they picked the interior. And because you can have cameras and all of these assistance systems and sensors, it's legally allowed to not actually have a rear window. So I'm really excited now. So what was the benefit? How much better is that now for the rear passengers? So let's go inside and take a look. Whoa, holy crap. Definitely makes a big difference because they've been able to push the seat back. And look at the amount of legroom that I have. This seat, believe it or not, is set to my driving position. I'm 5'8", so I'm not the tallest man in the world, not tall as Thomas, but 1.73 meters. I can sit very comfortably, stretch my feet out. And yeah, this is a large glass area which lets in a lot of light. Even if I look straight up, I'm still seeing glass because it ends behind my head. So I really have this nice cocoon of glass. I'm like in this bubble. This can optionally be had as an electrochromic glass, which means you can change the level of tint, and then you can kind of have it dark to block the sunlight. I wonder how dark it gets, like in the middle of summer, in the middle of the day. So again, we should test that out. But definitely, I see the value in this because it's now it makes sense. And the middle seat is actually also quite comfortable. I must say, I do feel like I'm sitting a little bit knees up, which is to be expected because of its electric skateboard platform with the batteries down here. And again, that sleek roofline means that The seats are a little bit lower than I might have liked, so for definitely passengers who are taller, you will find that your knees come up a little bit more. But that being said, these seats are also really comfortable. It's also really interesting to note that the interior is completely animal-free. These seats are made from 100% recycled PET. In fact, many other composite materials within the car, for the door panels, for example, are made with like a mono-material philosophy, which means when you melt them down, you don't have like 10 different materials that you need to separate later on. You have one general material that can be completely recycled. So there's efficiency in the recyclability of the materials as well. There's ISOFIX points with nice flaps so they don't get lost on the outside two seats only. And if I pull this handrest down, again, really nice and comfortable, but there's buttons on the side here, as you can see, and I can use them to increase or decrease the angle of recline on the backrest. So again, very easy to get comfortable back here. I really like this interior. What do you guys think? I really like these light colors because it makes the interior feel a lot more spacious. That coupled with that ginormous sunroof means that you will never feel hemmed in. Of course, these light colors, especially here where you're going to put your hands, where you're going to fumble with your drinks, I guess they are prone to getting more dirty, but I hope they're easy to wipe. So again, a long-term test of this would really prove to be useful. But quality of materials, surprisingly, it's fantastic. And again, goes to show that recycled materials doesn't mean that they're subpar at all. Such plush, soft touch. I like the textile here. Even this is so soft. It's like a piece of furniture, really. So in general, definitely very nice. The ambient lighting is also really beautifully executed because it also goes through these pores, the perforation on these materials. Funny thing, actually, this is again a bit of a gimmick. The colors to change the ambient lighting is based on the solar system. So the theme is the different planets and the sun. So now when I choose the sun, you can see that it's all yellow, and then Mercury is white, Venus is purple, Earth is blue, and so on and so forth. So it's fun. I think it's a nice way of having this. I like that you have that connection to the earth and the environment, so it all kind of ties in together. You know what I mean? Eco-friendly, sustainable earth. There you go. I know what you're thinking. AJ, didn't you just say that there's no rear window? Why is there a rear view mirror? Well, first of all, it's a nice little mirror to look at your passengers in the back, but critically, if I flip that switch, this becomes a screen where we get a live feed from the camera that's mounted on the rear. And this is where you can see a wide angle view of the traffic behind you. Now, I've seen this and tested the system for a couple weeks, almost exactly 4 years ago in the Land Rover Discovery Sport, and I think it's a bit hit and miss, primarily because we're so used to using the mirror to gauge depth and distance, and that's such a critical aspect of using mirrors while driving. But a screen is too flat, it's a two-dimensional thing, and this is not a stereoscopic screen, which means it's hard to gauge the depth. Taking center stage is this 15.4 touchscreen. Very big, and unfortunately, as you can see, no buttons even for your climate control. So, let's see what we can do with it. First and foremost, you have the navigation on the left-hand side, and you have different tiles that you can use to customize other features like, the tire pressure, your phone, and things like that. This is actually a prototype. It's a pre-production, so these things are all not working perfectly at the moment. This is also a similar navigation system to what's currently available with the Polestar 2 and the Polestar 3. So it also means that you have, for example, if I were to navigate back home, it would look for charging stations along the way and show me how much time it would take to charge each of them. So all of that is incorporated with the navigation, again, in the final version. This, as you can tell, is clearly a Google map, but in fact, this entire system is based on Google. So you might even notice that there's the Google Assistant system here. So this is Android Automotive. So it's an entire operating system for the car, not Android Auto, which is phone mirroring. See, there's a key difference there. That being said, you can still use Apple CarPlay. To make the map bigger, you can simply swipe to the side or just toggle with the home button. Here in the main menu, again, you have several more options. We can go to the car status to see, for example, the tire pressure and turn on the tow mode, which again is quite critical for electric cars. There's also very interesting electric car specific controls and menus. For example, you can go here to the drive and turn on the creep function. You can also have a one-pedal drive, which is really useful in the city because you can have the regen so high that the minute you start letting off the accelerator pedal, it's automatically bringing you back down to a stop. So really easy in the city. You can also see different visualizations on the charge. So the status, you can schedule the charge, you can even charge devices out of the car. The steering wheel is very reminiscent of Polestar and Volvo. Very handsome looking wheel with that logo in the middle. Capacitive buttons, however. So again, once we're driving, we can give a better report on this. Furthermore, you can also check our current reviews of the other Polestar vehicles to get an idea, or the Zeekr as well. In the front, for the instruments, there's a 10-inch screen. It's actually quite nice, and it shows you just what you need to see because this car also comes as standard with a head-up display. So between a head-up display and this large infotainment, you have plenty of information that's visible all the time. Hence, no need of a very elaborate instrument cluster. Of course, this is again not a drivable version, so we cannot really explore anything here, but overall, I think it's executed quite well. I know you guys love stuff like this, so check out these frameless mirrors. Over here we have flush door handles and frameless windows. But what about the door closing sound, right? Let's check it out. Sounds pretty solid to me. Let's take a look at the trunk. This is 526 liters of boot space. Down here you have even more. Also a nice area to store your charging cable. You can also lower this the floor so you have a little bit more volume as well. And again, you can tumble the seats down and they do fold fairly flat. So you do have a pretty decent loading area to stow longer items. Now the million-dollar question, is there a frunk? There's enough space for your cheeseburger, and that's about it. Well, but it comes with the safety triangle and some things like that. Polestar 4 sits between the Polestar 2 and the Polestar 3 in terms of price and size. So that means that this starts at around 60,000 euros or US dollars for the basic version. But what you see here with the top end version and some optional extras will be around 84,000 euros. Now, if you're interested to learn more about this, make sure you're subscribed because when we have our chance to do the road test, you'll want to see all those details that we can test in the real world. But for now, why don't you check out some of the other videos with, for example, its siblings, the Polestar 3 and the Zeekr. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.